It took me 60 days just to platinum WWE 2K25, and you'll find out why later in this video, but first we're starting off with the showcase mode. And this mode usually follows a wrestler's career and their highlights, but instead of focusing on one superstar this year, it's focused on the whole Bloodline dynasty, playing as the Anuaru family, like the Wild Samoans, Rikishi, The Rock and Roman Reigns. And you go through the family's classic matches and some dream matches as well against some of the current superstars. You even get to experience the whole Avengers-like ending from WrestleMania 40, and the trophies are pretty straightforward and pretty hard to miss, like completing an objective and just winning matches. And the very last match of the showcase mode is a tribal gauntlet match, and I can pick a member of the family just to play as. And of course I picked Jacob Fatu, that's a no-brainer. And I went up against 9 other opponents to win the gauntlet and get my last trophy for showcase mode. With showcase mode finished, I now move on to the play now section, where there is 10 trophies to collect. Starting with the first one, going solo, defeat Roman Reigns in a Bloodlines rule match without summoning allies on legendary difficulty. So I switched to the legendary difficulty and I picked the phenomenal AJ Styles to beat up Roman Reigns. When the first person came out, Jimmy Uso, I thought it might be easy, but I was wrong. Once Sami Zayn came out, I basically couldn't do anything. Once I reversed the move, another person would hit me straight away and I lost in the end. So I made it a bit easier for me and gave myself 3 finishes at the start, and of course Roman Reigns had to kick out of all of them, why not? But I quickly got myself another finisher to put him away before Jimmy Uso could enter the ring, and I got the going solo trophy. Now Underground Reign, where I have to get 25 consecutive wins via knockout or submission in an underground match. I'm very surprised I added the underground concept to 2K25 since it was a thing that happened in 2020 and it only lasted 7 weeks, and yes, it was horrible. It was basically WWE's version of Fight Club that was hosted by the best in the world, Shane McMahon, and to win the match it's either knockout or submission, so I have to do this 25 times. I chose Roman Reigns because he was basically the highest overall, but Akira Tozawa is a tough guy to knock out, so I changed the gameplay sliders to make this 10 times faster, to make my opponent tap out straight away. And a few minutes later I got the Underground Reign trophy as well as a second trophy for winning 25 legendary matches without using an instant recovery. Following that, I aimed for some pretty simple trophies like winning a match without getting a rope break, performing a dive off the barricade, winning a match after performing a comeback move, and complete a chain wrestling sequence. But now I focus on the Gauntlet Turmoil match type, where once I defeat someone, another person will come out. And I have 3 trophies to get in this match type, with the first being very simple, just win a match as a giant without losing armor. And I just picked all the low overalls just to go against, just to make this faster. Next is Rhea Ripley defeat all Judgment Day members, and quickly got that over and done with. And lastly, win a 20-man gauntlet match on legendary difficulty. So I picked the tribal chief Roman Reigns and just quickly made everyone tap out, earning the last play now trophy. And now moving on to the universe mode. Universe mode is your own WWE simulation where you can control everything. This mode was very fast to do since there are only 5 trophies in this mode, which were very easy to get, like accepting an open challenge, completing a self-promo rivalry action, start a match from a call-out promo, crown a new king and queen of the rings, and completing both nights of WrestleMania. So yeah, it was pretty simple. I won't go too much into this. With universe mode finished, I can now focus on the mode which I'll be spending most of my time on, which is My Faction. If you don't know what My Faction is, it's exactly like NBA My Team, where you collect virtual cards and play matches with them. It's where 2K earns most of their money, and they added a new game mode called World Tour, which allows you to travel to different cities and each city having a unique match stipulation or challenge to complete. I'm going to make a start on this because I have to go all around the United States just for a trophy. On my first match I actually earned 2 trophies for completing the lifetime challenge as well as winning a match. Later on I earned a trophy for completing one of my daily challenges and for completing a location on the World Tour map. Knowing how long it was going to take and didn't really want to play World Tour for a couple of hours, I tried some other modes instead and started collecting trophies on them, and the other trophies are the exact same as the previous WWE 2K games. I completed one for the weekly towers, I won a live event match and kept replaying that exact match 9 times just to get the 10 wins on live event matches, and now I start working on these 3 challenges tabs where completing them gets you a trophy each. I only have 1 daily challenge left to go, and it's just hitting 1 more signature, and I did it while trying out the online in My Faction to see if the servers have improved. And guess what, they still haven't. But I did get my daily challenge done and got myself a trophy. My last intro challenge is completing a Faction Wars run. Faction Wars is a stage game mode and each run consists of 5 different stages, and you have to follow a path to the very end of each stage to face a boss, which is just a regular 4v4 match. And there is a trophy for defeating 30 bosses, but I'll do that later. So the best way to do this is just find a path that has the least amount of matches to make it to the bosses faster. After completing my first run, I unlocked beginner's luck for doing all the intro challenges. And now I do the lifetime challenges, and thank God you don't have to do every challenge on here, because there are way too many. But for this trophy, all I have to do is complete 15 lifetime challenges, and I've already completed a ton of them, from just playing and also from the pre-order bonuses. And I only needed a few more to go, so I scrolled through and looked for some easy ones to complete, like putting some side plates on cards. And my last one, I just did evolve one card, and to do that I had to complete these 3 challenges. So I hopped into a match and quickly did 10 diving, running and springboard moves, and got the notification that I completed it. I ended the match and I got the lifetime challenges trophy. I make my return to the World Tour mode to finish it off. It wasn't too hard to do until I got to the worst tour, which was New York Best in the World Tour. It had rules to this 5-match tour. You cannot use paybacks, you can't leave the ring, you can't go to the top rope, you can't use signatures or finishes, and you cannot run. So you can't do most of your moves, and made it very difficult just to beat someone, but I couldn't even do that. I was playing for around 30 minutes and I was still stuck at a 2 count. So I gave up and did some research on how I can win these sorts of matches. And the way to do it is to get a disqualification win, so I attempted it. So the best way to get a DQ is throw your opponent at the ref a bunch of times in the corner, and sometimes it would take at least about 10 attempts just to get a DQ. But thankfully I do not have to experience this challenge again, as it was annoying. But I finished all the tours around America and got United States champion for doing so. Now I'm continuing a trophy I mentioned earlier, which was defeating 30 bosses in Faction Wars, with 5 bosses in each run, and already completing the run. I had to do 5 more successfully to get this trophy. So I followed the quickest path to the bosses, and a bit later, grinding Faction Wars, I was able to defeat 30 bosses, earning the Faction Wars trophy. There are 2 more My Faction trophies to get, but I'll have to wait to collect them. One of them being for collecting a loyalty reward by logging in for 5 days in a week, which I'll have to wait a few days for. And the other one is the trophy that made me wait 60 days just to collect. That is Rise Through the Ranks, where I have to collect a leaderboard reward, aka a season reward, which if you ever played the previous WWE games with My Faction in it, you know you have to play 5 online ranked matches and wait until the end of the season, which is about 60 days. So I'll return to My Faction when it's time to get those trophies, so we'll move over to the My GM mode. If you somehow haven't played My GM mode, you take control of the general manager role for a brand and you face off against another GM of the opposing brand, and your goal is to make a better weekly show than your opponent. You book matches, create rivalries, sign superstars, and try and manage your budget while doing so. There's 7 trophies to collect in this mode, so I did a quick playthrough to get this one trophy where I have to have 5 superstars get injured during a go home show. I simulated to a go home show and saved a bunch of money so I could use the no holds barred match type, because wrestlers have a higher chance on getting injured during the match. I simulated through the show and popped just a scratch trophy. I started a new save where I also controlled the opposing brand to make these next few trophies easier. I picked CM Punk as my general manager and picked NXT Mutiny as my brand just for a trophy to enter the Hall of Fame in first place. To enter the Hall of Fame, I need to earn these My GM trophies by having an amount of fans or money. It originally makes you need 10 of them just to enter the Hall of Fame, but I changed it in the settings so I only have to collect 1 of them. And after simulating an entire season, I got a My GM trophy to put me into the Hall of Fame, as well as an actual trophy, GM Punk. After starting a new year and the budget has reset, it was the perfect time to pop this trophy for having a balance of 0 after booking a show. My next trophy is to have an immortal Kyle Slickman to win a WrestleMania main event. This did take a while, and I had to sign Kyle Slickman to my roster, and he starts off at a very low level and I'll have to get him to level 25 to be immortal. So I kept buying XP power cards on both shows and applied them to Kyle, and once I got him to immortal, I simulated all the way to WrestleMania and put him in the main event against some jobbers, and once done I got myself the trophy. My next task was to find and sign this big boy named Cash Suplex for my next trophy, for releasing him while he's injured and collecting over $100,000. and to release him for that high, I have to get him to Immortal rank, so I've ran through and collected the XP cards again, and while doing this I actually got another trophy for winning the main event of every PLE as the Mutiny brand, and I honestly did not know that was a trophy. But once I got him to Immortal, I put him in a no holds barred match to get him injured. Then I used a special power card that will allow me to collect the full contract price for a person at fire. I applied the card and released Cash Suplex for $184,000 and claimed the trophy medical bill. My last GM trophy, I have to complete a WrestleMania show with 3 human controlled brands. Yes, I have to get 3 other real players to get this trophy. And since I don't have friends that play this game, I joined a PSN Profiles gaming session to help out. I started a save with 4 brands and simulated all the way through to week 25, aka WrestleMania. I invited the people from the session to join and simulated this one show, and once I got the results screen, I got the last MyGM trophy finishing off this mode. But before we move to the next mode, I actually missed one trophy I can do in the Play Now section, which was win a match with a randomized custom superstar, so I quickly cracked onto that and got that pretty fast. Now we move over to the My Rise mode, which is basically the story mode for your custom superstars. There are 18 trophies to collect in this mode, so let's just get started. But first I need to make my character, and he is known as the best luchador there is in wrestling. My custom superstar is Nacho Libre. I'm supposed to get a trophy here, but I did forget to capture it, so my bad. We start off in draft night, and before the draft picks, Nacho speaks to Kathy Kelly backstage, and you get to choose your personality, and this is one of those decision branches where each option is a trophy of their own, so I'll come back later and choose the other 2 later on. During the draft picks, Nacho gets picked at number 1 for Raw, but Nacho gets attacked while making his entrance by a mystery person under a mask. He makes friends with CM Punk backstage, warning to Nacho that this could happen again, which it does the next week after Nacho's match, and he was able to unmask the attacker and reveal it as Tony D'Angelo from NXT. I confront Tony about it, but he replies with that this is a new era and that there's more of them. They have a match the following week, which Nacho will pick up the victory, but after the match, NXT superstars will come and ambush wrestlers backstage and the management. He gets attacked in the ring, but Bayley and Kevin Owens run to the ring to go help but betray him. They call this a mutiny, where current and former members of NXT have taken over and want NXT to be the one and only brand left standing in WWE. Nacho Libre, CM Punk, and the general manager Adam Pearce talk about the attack backstage and how they're going to need some help to face them. Nacho brings up an old partner to come help, which I introduce to you, Miss Nacho. Yeah, I really didn't know who to make, so yeah, but I did get a trophy though. She says she will help and they'll make up a plan to come up with their own custom intergender tag titles, which pissed off the NXT Unity Tag Champs. We challenge them to a match for the Unity titles, which Nacho and Miss Nacho win, thanks to the SmackDown general manager Nick Aldez, and also got a trophy for that. CM Punk talks with the champs and reckoned Triple H could be the one organising the attacks. The group decided to split up between brands to stop these attacks from happening. I meet up with a WWE producer named Troy. He gives you matches to compete on live event shows, and for a few trophies I need to play a live event match, earn 50 and earn 100 stars in live event matches. And every match type is different, and stars are the match rating in the top left. The highest you can get is 5 stars in a match, but it takes a while just to get those 5 stars. So the fastest way is just to find a quick match type and get around 2 stars, then end the match. And after a while I did get all 3 trophies. So now I can go back to the story. Nacho goes to NXT and calls out the whole locker room and plans to take the NXT championship, which causes Kevin Owens to come out. He gives Nacho a chance if he wins a gauntlet match, which he does, and enters a chamber match for the title, and Nacho does win that too. And he won the NXT Mutiny Championship, but he isn't done as he grabs a sledgehammer and destroys the belt. CM Punk informs the two that they have to defend the Unity titles at Payback against Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. I got a trophy after the meeting for completing a personality story. So for the other 2 trophies at the beginning, I restarted the entire story and picked their personality stories to quickly collect them. Now we're going to continue. They retain the titles, and Triple H makes a big announcement that at Survivor Series it will be Raw and SmackDown versus NXT Mutiny in a best of 3 series of matches. But before Survivor Series they have to defend the Unity tag titles again against the former champs. However, Bayley interrupts and includes a free bird rule where she will be replacing JC Jane in the match. CM Punk gets frustrated and asks if he can replace Nacho to get revenge on them, and Nacho agrees. During the finish of the match where CM Punk and Miss Nacho are about to win, they set up for their finisher, but CM Punk betrays them and hits the go to sleep to help Mutiny win back the titles. Punk explains that he wanted to make a legacy change to the NXT superstars who went to the main roster and corporate not giving a damn about them and being tossed to the side, and decided to make a change for the WWE. The general managers for Raw and SmackDown asked Nacho and Miss Nacho to find people for the upcoming Survivor Series show, which they find Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, which I got a trophy for getting 2 allies. The group would come up with an idea to replace Seth Rollins to surprise their opponent, which Sheamus would come in and squash Kevin Owens. Becky would lose her match due to a distraction, making the series 1-1. The main event is CM Punk and Bayley versus Nacho and Miss Nacho, but Miss Nacho is nowhere to be found. She comes out during the match looking beat up with a chair, coming to the ring to hit Mutiny, but instead betrays Nacho by hitting him in the back. I got a choice to either continue the story with Nacho or Miss Nacho, which both have trophies for. I picked Miss Nacho to continue the story with. They continue to beat up Nacho and Mutiny wins the match. She becomes one of the leaders and demands a women's championship match, which I can choose who I face, which both are trophies. But after the match, an unmasked Nacho attacks Miss Nacho from behind with the championship and runs out of the arena. Miss Nacho gets fed up with Punk and his power, so she badmouths him to Bayley and Kevin Owens, which leads to them turning on him after a Hell in a Cell match against Nacho. She defeats CM Punk in a normal match where Triple H comes out after, and The Rock surprises her from behind, giving her a rock bottom. They want to take back what's theirs, and it leads to a match at Mutiny Mania, which Miss Nacho squashes The Rock, ending the story and getting the trophy. I talked with R-Truth who can take me back to the very start of My Rise, which I need to do for a trophy. So I'll go through the entire story from being drafted to being attacked at Survivor Series. I choose Nacho's story now, where he returns a month later where he wants to stop Mutiny. Triple H suggests he gets help from people, which I get 3 options with each option a trophy. I saved my game so I can get back to this point, and I picked all the options to get the quick trophies, and I will continue on with the help from the legends. We invade Mutiny with people like X-Pac, Mick Foley, Lita, and more. Nacho chases Punk outside of the Performance Center and battles each other, but Punk will quickly get picked up by Mrs. Nacho, and for some reason Scott Steiner is on the roof. Nacho challenges Mrs. Nacho to a match at WrestleMania and beats her, reclaiming the WWE back to normal, finishing the story earning a trophy, as well as another one for completing it twice, and now I am finished with the My Rise mode. With My Rise done and only have 2 trophies to go, there is one more mode I haven't visited yet, and it's the Island. And surprisingly, the island has its own set of trophies and there are 5 trophies to collect, so I'll quickly go through them since I have a bunch of time. The island is a new mode that just got added to the game. It's a multiplayer hub of a WWE island, sort of like the neighborhood or the city in NBA 2K games. You can go around, do tasks, buy items from different WWE themed shops. I got a quick trophy for creating a superstar called Slim Jimmy and started doing quests, which I completed the tutorial and in another trophy. And also putting the badge on me got me one as well. I tested out the online for a PvP match, which I surprisingly didn't have a problem with and had a great match and got myself a trophy. My last one is I need to complete a Hall of Fame challenge, which I can do any of these, but I just picked the easiest one, which was winning matches. So I went back and started doing more tasks that led me up to some quick matches, which I was able to get done very easily and got 10 wins, which I needed for the Hall of Fame trophy. The island is not really that good and I doubt it's going to be added to more WWE games, but I finished it and I probably won't ever touch it again. I waited a few days just to earn my loyalty reward for logging in for 5 days and getting that trophy, but now the last trophy is Rise to the Ranks where I'll have to wait 49 more days to unlock it. So during that time, WrestleMania 41 happened, which was good and bad. The CM Punk main event was great with Paul Heyman betraying both Punk and Roman to align with Seth Rollins. And the bad was the whole ending to the John Cena match. Like, John Cena made history by being the most times to hold the WWE Championship by the help of Travis Scott.
What the hell has happened to this business?
But finally, after the long wait, I watched as the timer went to 0 and got my last trophy as well as the platinum. And now I have 100%ed WWE 2K25.
I don't think we're in love, that's just the drug.